Mom smelled nothing but the dog refused to let the baby sleep in the nursery. It was 1:30 inches the morning when Sophie heard it. Violent scraping sounds coming from the nursery. She threw off her blankets and ran down the hallway, her heart pounding in her chest. When she pushed open the door, she found Rusty, their golden retriever, standing stiffly in front of Noah's crib. His body was rigid, his ears pinned back, a low, guttural growl rumbling from his throat. He wasn't moving. He was blocking the crib like a shield. Sophie had never seen him like this. "Rusty, what are you doing? Move!" She reached for his collar, but Rusty snapped his head toward her, not aggressive, but desperate. His eyes were wide, pleading, his whole body was shaking. And then Noah started coughing. Violent, choking coughs that made Sophie's stomach drop. Rusty barked sharp, frantic, piercing, and lunged toward the vent in the wall. Sophie shouted, "What is it, Rusty? What's wrong with the nursery?" But the danger hiding in that room had no smell, no sound, and it was slowly poisoning her baby. Sophie never imagined she'd be doing this alone. A first-time mom, exhausted, running on 3 hours of sleep and cold coffee. But she had Rusty. He'd been with her since college, a goofy, gentle golden retriever with soft eyes and a tail that never stopped wagging. When Noah was born, Sophie worried Rusty might feel replaced, jealous even. But the opposite happened. Rusty bonded with Noah instantly. He'd curl up beside the crib while Noah slept. He'd gently nudge Sophie awake when the baby cried. He was Noah's silent protector. Sophie felt safe knowing Rusty was there, until his behavior started to change. It began subtly. Rusty would sniff around the nursery vent for minutes at a time, his nose pressed against the metal slats. He stopped sleeping in his usual spot and started lying in the hallway outside Noah's room instead. Every time Sophie carried Noah toward the nursery, Rusty would whine a high-pitched, anxious sound that made her uneasy. And when she laid Noah in the crib, Rusty would paw at her leg, pulling at her pajama pants like he was trying to tell her something. Sophie thought maybe he was jealous after all. Or clingy because of the new baby. She'd scratch his head and say, "It's okay, boy. You're still my good boy." But Rusty wasn't being clingy. He was trying to warn her. The nights got worse. Every time Sophie approached the nursery door, Rusty would block her path. Not playfully, not like he wanted attention. He'd plant himself between her and the room, his body tense, his eyes locked on the doorway, and he'd growl, not at Sophie, at the room itself. One evening, Sophie found Noah's blanket dragged out into the hallway. Rusty had pulled it from the crib and left it by the stairs. Another night, she woke to the sound of scratching. She walked into the nursery and found Rusty clawing at the floorboards under the crib, his nails scraping against the wood. "Rusty, stop it! You're ruining the floor!" But he wouldn't stop. He kept digging, kept scratching, kept staring at the air vent like something was inside it. Sophie was losing her patience. "Nothing is wrong with this room, Rusty." But Rusty knew better. Then Noah got sick. It started small, a little cough at night, nothing unusual for a baby. But then it got worse. Noah would wake up wheezing, his tiny chest rising and falling too quickly. His eyes watered constantly, red and irritated. He'd sleep restlessly, thrashing in his crib, crying out in the middle of the night. Sophie took him to the pediatrician. The doctor listened to his lungs, checked his throat, examined his eyes. Could be allergies, the doctor said. Maybe the air's too dry. Could even be teething. Sophie nodded, relieved it wasn't anything serious. But when she got home, Rusty was still pacing outside the nursery, still whining, still staring at that vent. One night, everything came to a head. Noah was crying harder than he ever had before. Sophie scooped him up, rocking him gently, trying to soothe him. She started walking toward the nursery to lay him down. And Rusty exploded. He barked loud, sharp, desperate. He jumped between Sophie and the door, blocking her path. He nudged Noah's blanket with his nose, pushing it away from the crib. He pulled at Sophie's shirt with his teeth, trying to drag her backward. Sophie snapped. "What has gotten into you?" She tried to push past him, but Rusty wouldn't budge. He ran to the vent, and he started clawing at it furiously. His nails scraped against the metal. His barks echoed through the house. Sophie stood frozen, watching him. For the first time, she felt real fear. Sophie knelt beside the crib, trying to calm Noah. But something felt wrong. Her eyes started to burn. Just a little. A faint sting she couldn't explain. Noah began coughing again, violent, choking coughs that made her chest tighten. And Rusty wouldn't stop barking at the vent. Sophie still smelled nothing. But she couldn't ignore it anymore. Something was wrong. She grabbed her phone and called a heating technician, her hands shaking. "I don't know what's going on, but my dog won't stop barking at the vent in my baby's room. Can you come check it?" The technician arrived within the hour. He walked into the nursery, Rusty trailing behind him, still whining. The technician knelt by the vent and opened it. His face went pale. He pulled out a flashlight and shone it inside. Then he looked up at Sophie, his expression grave. "Ma'am, you need to get your baby out of this room. Right now." Sophie's blood ran cold. "What? Why? What's wrong?" The technician pointed inside the vent. "Your furnace pipe is cracked. It's been leaking carbon monoxide directly into this room." Sophie's legs nearly gave out. "Carbon monoxide? But I didn't smell anything. I didn't—" "You wouldn't," the technician said quietly. "It's odorless, colorless, silent." He looked at Rusty, who was sitting at attention, staring at them both. "If your dog hadn't reacted—" He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. Sophie sank to the floor, her hand covering her mouth. Rusty wasn't jealous. Rusty wasn't misbehaving. He was saving her baby's life. The furnace was repaired that night. Carbon monoxide detectors were installed in every room. Noah's cough cleared up within days. Sophie couldn't stop crying. She sat on the floor of the living room, Rusty's head in her lap, her fingers buried in his soft fur. "You knew," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "You knew before any of us." Rusty licked her hand gently, his tail wagging slowly. That night, Sophie moved Noah's crib into a different room, one that was safe, one that had been checked and cleared. She laid Noah down, and Rusty curled up beside the crib, his head resting on his paws. Sophie knelt beside him and kissed the top of his head. I'm sorry I didn't listen sooner. Rusty's tail thumped softly against the floor. Some dangers can't be seen, or smelled, or heard, but a loyal dog can sense what humans cannot. Rusty wasn't acting out. He was fighting for the child he loved. And he didn't stop until that child was safe. If you have a dog in your home, trust their instincts. They can sense dangers we never could. Share this story with every parent you know. It could save a life. And if this story touched your heart, hit that like button and follow for more incredible true stories about the animals who protect us. Because sometimes our pets are the heroes we never knew we needed.